Hey guys, how's it going? Eminem Gaming here, and today we're back with another video. I've got two news articles to bring you today, so bear that in mind. I'm going to put my opinions in after I've read the articles. This could be a longer video because you know I like to talk about this sort of stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. So, the first one is to do with Crash Bandicoot. Yes, you know I'm a Crash fanatic or whatever, so we're going to talk about this now. In the articles from Push Square, so check them out if you want to see this article. It says, toy maker says Sony bringing Crash Bandicoot back. There's too much smoke now, surely. Hot on the heels of Sean Layden's t-shirt tease and all of the social media hints, NECA Toys' Randy Falk has suggested that Sony's bringing back Crash Bandicoot. Speaking at the New York Toy Fair this weekend, the bearded director touched upon his company's PlayStation line and said, looking at some of Sony's other titles, they're obviously bringing Crash Bandicoot back, which is really cool. Are they now? Falk's company works very closely with PlayStation on the creation of limited edition action figures, so he'd certainly be in the know if the platform holder was looking to produce a Crash Bandicoot toy line. The firm's already working on Uncharted, God of War and Little Big Planet figures, and we'd have to assume that a Crash Bandicoot reboot would be ripe for some kind of merchandise. There's a small possibility that he may be mistaken though, but at what point do all the hints, teases and leaks become cold hard facts? We're not going to lie, every single time that we write about Crash we get a huge traffic, and Sony must be seeing similar metrics internally. In truth, we honestly believe that something is happening behind the scenes. So yeah, one second guys. Sorry, it's just changing the page. So what do I think of this? Well, as we know, you cannot just advertise something without owning the IP, or at least being allowed to use the IP for exclusive marketing. For example, PlayStation can't just come out and make a Halo Master Chief toy or whatever and have it advertised on a launch event, because they don't own the IP, and that would they'd obviously be sued a lot of money for doing that. So for me, I'm thinking that it can only be two things that are happening with this, guys. One, Sony has bought the IP, which I think is the most likely thing to have happened, and I assume that it may have been even in the contract around about the time they signed the Call of Duty deal. I assume around about that time they got into discussions about buying the Crash Bandicoot IP. The second possibility is, yeah, Activision obviously don't want to do anything with the IP, so what they're going to do now is let Sony, maybe an exclusive studio or whatever, work on the game, but it would obviously be console or full exclusive, but Activision would remain the rights holder of the IP. That's a possibility. I don't think that will happen because Activision have no interest in doing anything with the IP. Now, why is this an important bit of news? Well, I've been saying all the time, no one believes me. They all think I'm wearing this tinfoil hat, living in a basement, reading, highlighting things on newspapers, and I am. But, no, I'm joking. But there's surely, like they say, too much now smoke, too much evidence, too much stuff coming out from Sony themselves. Now, this guy, okay, cannot just come out and say this. Do you know what I mean? He can't just come out and say this. But also, at this point in time, with E3 being a couple of months away, PlayStation can't just come out and drop a massive bombshell like this, because a lot of people wouldn't have heard of it. A lot of people may not know the news, and they need to sell as much as they can on this product if they're spending as much as it looks like they're probably going to spend on getting the IP, or at least marketing it and all that good stuff. And a lot of people say, well, why does this mean anything? Well, this guy, he's going to know the difference of whether they're just trying to bring the toys back. Okay, just say, yeah, we'll sell a few toys and get people excited or whatever, but we ain't bringing the game back. He said they're bringing Crash Bandicoot back. They're bringing it back, so he would know as the head of that company whether they're doing it. Because you may think why? Well, he would know whether it would be like bundled with a game or whatever, and all that sort of stuff. Because, like I said, God of War, Uncharted, and Little Big Planet. Now, God of War will come back at E3, almost certain at this point. Little Big Planet, well, you could argue because of Dreams or whatever, they may be doing something with that Media Molecule. Little Big Planet is massive, and maybe this could mean that, if they're currently working on it, I'm not sure if I misread that and it was just they've made it before. If that is, bear that in mind. But these could also be the guys making the figures for the collection which I'm getting, the Libertalia collection, with the big Nathan Drake statue. So if that's true, that means there's going to be not only a Crash Bandicoot game, but it's not the Crash Bandicoot I'm fearing, which would be a $15, $20 whatever downloadable title. Not great graphics, not great anything, but a cash grab. That would break my heart, and I'd still buy it. Do you know what I mean? It means it's going to be a $60 big game, and I cannot wait. So many things, so many questions, but all of them I hope at least are answered at E3, or they're going to be answered at E3, good or bad. Let's be honest here. If we hear nothing, well, goodbye Crash. You know what I mean? I can't see that happening. I can't see why they would just get rid of the IP, like Activision. If you're not going to do anything with it, sell it. If you are going to do something with it, at least tell us. Do you know what I mean? I think this will be headline first or last or something on the stage, similar to like Final Fantasy VII was. This is as big as that, in my opinion. Crash is massive. I don't think Naughty Dog will work on it. I think it's almost certain they're making The Last of Us 2. So, but there's a lot of like external companies that could work on it and do a very good game. For example, Sly 4 was one of my favourite Sly Cooper games, and that wasn't made by what's the name? I forgot. I know who they are. I forgot. Damn. Let's move on from that. If I remember, I'll just shout it out, guys. We'll get on to the next article now. But let me know, guys. Do you think, like me, there's far too much evidence now that it's happening, but they just can't say it? Like, for example, with a lot of these games going to Xbox, from Xbox to Windows 10 or whatever, they put a lot of crumbs, a lot of trails for people to follow, that the hardcore gamers like myself were following these trails and these rumours and everything. Obviously, I'm sure if they ask Sony, they're going to say no, but that doesn't mean no. Do you know what I mean? You sign NDAs, you sign non-disclosure agreements, you agree deals. You can't just come out and say it. But if they're creating a new line of Crash Bandicoot toys, like I said, there is no reason for Sony, if it's an Activision-owned IP, hear me out, guys. Activision-owned IP, it would only make sense for Activision to, go to this toy company or whatever. And it's strange that, yes, it is a Sony, very closely linked with Sony toy company. So if it was an Activision move, this new game or whatever, it would be Activision going to this company asking them to make these toys because they own the IP. Can you hear now why, guys? I think, and almost I'm sure now, that Sony has agreed to buy the IP. You cannot make it, like I say, Sony can't just go out and make an Assassin's Creed toy or a Halo Master Chief or a Gears of War or a Mario. They can't do that because they don't hold the IP. They can't just make stuff. It's like if I want to make a I don't know, Marvel Avengers shirt, right? And I do that and I print it. If it's only for my use, that's fine. If I'm mass retailing that to a mass audience, I have to get the IP holders a permission, which I probably wouldn't get myself. So it's very interesting to see whether Activision have just given permission and given them a cut. Too many things up in the air. Can't wait to see E3 this year. But second news article, and we're going to fanboy a little bit more, so bear that in mind. And this is PS4 sales dwarf Xbox One in Germany and France, okay, by 400%. I mean, how much of a number that really is, I'm not too sure, because at the end of the day, we know it's 2-1. So is there that big of a market? But I had to, from that title, do a video as well, because I like to do two news topics in one. So the crash was the biggest, this is the second one. Another day and another set of data that shows how dominant the PS4 is when compared to the Xbox One. This is something that's truly breathtaking, as Sony was only able to barely inch out as the winner when the PS3 and Xbox 360 were duking it out. In fact, there was many months where the two consoles would trade spots as the MPD winner of the month. To see this level of disparity between the rival consoles, we'd have to go back to the PS2 and Xbox era where once again Sony were able to dominate its rival to see how much of a huge difference in sales figures. The latest set of data to come out of Europe with PS4 sales continuing to out the clear winner in Germany and France. I often like to give you a bit of backstory instead of listing numbers, but in this case I'm going to let the numbers do all the talking. So that was a very interesting piece. That was my two news articles, as I always like to do two. I don't know why, but yeah, it lengthens out the video, and I enjoy doing long videos and rambling. So, like I said, guys, I don't know how much of a number that really is, if that makes sense. 400%, oh my god! But they're not outselling the Xbox One worldwide by 400%, or that would be insane numbers. But it's very well known in Japan, as well as the rest of Europe and a lot of like the Middle East, that they have massive leads. In the UK, they have a big lead. In the US, they've got quite a big lead now, rounding about 2 million, just under 2 million. So what does this mean, guys? What does this mean? Well, really, it's numbers what it means, but what does this mean for us as gamers? Well, this shows that we are getting back to the PS2 era. PlayStation messed up big time PS3 era, like it says, very close to the 360. The 360 was arguably a little bit better of the console, even though I preferred the PS3. What these numbers mean is, yes, Sony's back on top. Sony's back putting out those haymakers and really dominating the console sector. Back in the PS2 days, yeah, it was no contest from Nintendo or Xbox, and that shows even to today. There is no contest at the moment between Xbox, Nintendo, Ouya, whoever is making a console. They're just glad to be in the space. They're glad to be, even selling some consoles, because the PS4 is absolutely dominating. Now I'm going to give you my opinion why I think this is happening. Why is the PlayStation 4 selling so well? Because some people say tell you that the PlayStation isn't this. It's only got indies. It's only got this. It's only got that. It's not any good. I'm gonna tell you why now, guys. People are happy because they finally went back to their roots. Yes, guys, they have gone back to the PlayStation 1 and 2 roots. They have gone back to focusing, getting a lot of Japanese games out there. Whether you like the games, whether you hate them, whether you call them this, that, and the third, it's irrelevant, because even though these games may not sell 2-3 million, There is a variety on the console. To me, I thought NAC was a fantastic game, and I'm so glad it's getting a sequel. But a lot of people hated that. That's great in gaming. You know what I mean? It's great that we have the options. You only want to play a large amount what was on the PS3, for example, like Uncharted and God of War. Well, get your remastered versions of Uncharted. Get your remastered God of War 3. Wait, Uncharted's coming out this year. Gran Turismo's coming out this year. They're keeping their big IPs there, but they're just giving you more variety. They're giving you more games. They're giving you more interesting games. Whether you hate Firewatch, I know it's only console exclusive. It's not an exclusive full. But even if you hate Firewatch and you hate Street Fighter, well, here's Uncharted. You hate that, here's NAC. You hate that, here's Little Big Planet 3. There is so many options, and I think that's why the lead was there. A lot of people I see are saying, well, the PlayStation's leading because of power. I have never heard anyone, I'm not talking us as, I'm not a hardcore gamer. To say I'm a hardcore gamer, I'd have to be good at gaming, do you know what I mean? And I'm not. But I mean like us, the guys who will read these articles on the internet, who will check out all these news, who will watch E3 for goddamn all day, do you know what I'm saying? Not many people will do that. So, what this means is, for me and all that, we oh, look how many P's this has got, look at the frame rate. But at the end of the day, the mass audience don't care about that at all. But, so that's why the PlayStation 1 wasn't the most powerful console. The PlayStation 2 one wasn't the most powerful console. The Wii one, and it was the least powerful console out of all of them. And then the PS4, it will be, if it wins, and it will win. Let's be honest here, guys. If you're sitting here in denial, that's fine. That's whatever. But it's going to win. Do you know what I mean? So, with that, it will be the first ever, I think, I can't say that for sure, but the first for a long time to have won on pure power. The first since the PlayStation has been in business, and it's the first, to win on power. Raw horsepower in the machine. So, PlayStation is winning, is simple. It's got a ton of games. I'm looking, it's been 2 months in the year, and there's 6 or 7 exclusives. I've got around about 5. I know someone who's got 6, and you could possibly, I'd probably know people as well, they just haven't put it on the internet or whatever, that have got all 7. But what does that mean? Do you have to buy all 7? No. But someone, even if it's a few, will say, do you know what? I'm going to buy a console for Digimon because I haven't played Pokemon in years, or I like the Digimon anime. That may not be a million people like who will buy the Uncharted 4 bundle, but it keeps adding up worldwide. It's what I say, guys. You've got, for example, Killzone. Cool game, gets that sort of first-person shooter audience in. Brilliant. You've got games like Drive Club. It gets that, maybe the Motorstorm fans in. It gets the maybe a few like driving fans in. I won't say Gran Turismo because Gran Turismo is king, but it gets a lot of the racing fans in. Then you've got games like Little Big Planet, which I love, which are this creative game which you can't get on any other console. For example, the only game I guess that you could even come close to it is really that Mario Maker, and that sold really well because that's who it's aimed at. PlayStation 4 games, they may not sell 2 million, all of them. Do you know what I mean? I think Little Big Planet did sell well over 1 million, so that was good. But do you hear what I'm saying, guys? Can you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, you, everyone may not like the exclusives that are out there, and that's completely fine. But when you have 4 exclusives that you pump out every year, or 2 or 3 that you pump out every single year, or mix and match between 3, it's not that audience. You're going to keep your audience, but you're not going to expand on the audience. You're not going to have people who may be in love with like Little Big Planet type of games, or walking simulator games, or JRPGs, or visual novels, or any sort of that. And you may sit here and say, well, they only sell well in like certain parts of Europe and Asia. But that's why you're getting beat 400% in France and Germany, and are selling 99 consoles in Japan, being outsold by the PlayStation 2 in Japan. Do you know what I'm saying, guys? PlayStation has really gone back to its roots, and if you're a true PlayStation gamer, you could probably not be happier with the PlayStation 4. And it's even bringing, not only is it bringing the games that we kind of loved in the PlayStation 1 era, PlayStation 2 era, and even some of the PS3 games like The Last of Us and Uncharted. They're bringing another one, and the collection, of course, Little Big Planet. They're bringing a lot of those games. Obviously, the new IPs. Sony could basically, if Sony went out there, obviously, and just put out every year Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War, they'd be minted. But they like to have creativity and give them freedom to do what they want. That's why they have so many IPs. Do you know what I mean? And I always like that, because you don't know what's going to be big. Do you know what I mean? Do you think the guys who made the first God of War thought that was going to be big? They made it because that's what they wanted to make. Uncharted was a tech demo. It was a tech demo to show the power of the PS3, yeah, to developers who didn't think that the PlayStation 3 could run nice games or run it equal to the Xbox 360. That's what Uncharted 1 was. That's why I'm so excited for NAC, the possibility of NAC 2. Do you know what I mean, guys? But that's just my opinion, guys. I'm fanboying just a little bit, just a little bit here. But let me know, guys. Do you agree with me? Do you agree that? Are you happy with the PS4? Do you think I don't like Japanese games? I'm not really that interested. Or are you like me, happy that there is a new game coming out every goddamn week? Whether you buy it, whether you don't buy it, whether it interests you or not, there's so many options. Let me know, guys. Or are you don't care? You only play your Call of Duty, you're not too bothered. And there's going to be, and that's the cool thing as well, that audience is there, that probably maybe even, well, I guess the SOCOM community, but that was an exclusive. But anyway, guys, I'm rambling now on about nonsense. Let me know, guys, down below your thoughts on Crash. Are you as excited as me, or is it just me, nostalgia or whatever? Are you excited for NAC 2? Or am I the only one? Am I sat here on my own, waving the NAC banner? Or, let me know, guys. And yeah, I'm going to catch